In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, I got a chance to talk with Michael Marchese, who's a dynamic leader in the marketing sector, known for his innovative strategies and deep understanding of technology's role in business. With a wealth of experience, Michael has been instrumental in helping companies navigate the complexity of integrating AI into their marketing efforts. In our conversation, we'll explore how AI is and is not working and how we should look at integrating AI into our tech stack. We'll also explore his insights on the future of marketing, the impact of AI on consumer behavior, and how businesses can harness these tools to drive authentic engagement. Get ready for a hopefully controversial and enlightening discussion with myself and Michael.
Hi, Manuel. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for having me in on your show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking time today to dig into this, and I'm excited to get your impressions about where we are in the cycle of hype and shiny object syndrome, and how we actually get some value out of this as business professionals.
Absolutely. And I think the challenge with many businesses are that they're already busy and overwhelmed with other aspects of marketing and technology to be able to move their business forward. And all of a sudden, it's for them seemingly out of left field. Now there's AI, and it's getting a lot of venture capital financing. It's all over the media.
Yep.
And as small and mid-sized business owners, they're trying to figure out, where does this fit? I know it's something I need to do, but what, how, when, what will work? And it's been challenging. And we've seen a lot of companies move in and take on various AI initiatives with the best of intentions, but with absolutely disastrous results. And now some of those results are getting publicly made available in the media, which is adding even more uncertainty to a lot of CEOs on what to do.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We're a couple years into the hype of ChatGPT and generative AI, and I know you've been implementing AI solutions for a lot longer than that. But what are you seeing that are some of the mistakes, and how we can avoid those mistakes if we're just getting started implementing?
Absolutely. My company, Tempesta Media, we've been involved with AI since 2019, and we've seen that there is some tremendous potential, but at the same time, there are some gigantic landmines that are there. So let me start off with the positive on where there are opportunities, because gosh knows we need some positive these days.
Yeah.
In terms of opportunities, AI-enabled coding, which is programming,
Yep.
is a huge area of opportunity for businesses. I think that, let me explain a little bit about what it does. You can use AI to basically assist your programmers and your engineers to be able to write better code faster. And if they can write better code faster, that means you're getting more output and you're advancing your company's technology stack faster, which means either more revenue or more profit, depending on where they're focused. I think this is a huge opportunity. The other area that I think is absolutely a winner and low-hanging fruit, I think as well, is with AI-based automation.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think about even a couple years ago, in order to be able to automate tasks, it required a huge amount of heavy lifting by your internal engineering team, or you had to bring in an outside company to spend months to try to get one thing to talk to another to do X, Y, and Z. With these advances in automation, with APIs becoming very commonly available and standard reference points for most applications, including Tempesta Media's,
Yep.
and then also with the advent of AI thinking models that are out there, especially some of the newest ones that have come out, when you're able to put those together, they do two things. One, it makes it much easier to connect system A to system B.
Right.
That's by far, that's half the challenge. But the other part is when you have various things that you want to automate, like let's say, for example, you wanted to be able to automate email routing within your organization. Not everything's black and white. Not
Right.
everything is absolute. And that stuff that falls in under the gray matter, if you will, in between, like, is this a customer support issue? Is this a sales issue? Right? Most of those things are pretty binary. But there's a lot of times where there's stuff in the middle. That's really where AI can step in there and help provide some of that reasoning and rationale to be able to go and sort and deal with the gray. So if I had to take a look at a typical company, right, that's probably 30 to 20 to 30% of it is black, right, on that scale of black to white. You have another 20, 30% that's in that white, right, on the other end of it, where it's very defined things that are very easy from a rules perspective to put in place. It's that squishy stuff in the middle that could be anywhere from 20 to 40%. That's what's sucking up a lot of your team's time. And that's where I can probably cut that by half. Is it going to solve it all? No. Will it solve right out of the box half of it? Yes. Can it get up to about 70 to 80% once you've had it trained over a period of time? Absolutely. And now applications for that, use an example, would be call routing. Someone
Right.
comes in on your 800 number, where do you send them to?
Yeah.
Right? Is it really valuable or not? For your inbound sales team, is this a high value lead or a low value lead of someone calling in? That's an example where it can be helped. There's a lot of companies right now that are rapidly trying to go and get you as their vendor, as the vendor. They're trying to get those capabilities in place so that they can be able to fill that gap on your behalf.
For sure. Yeah. And so on the AI automation side, have you found any tools that are easily integrated into a tech stack for a small or mid-sized business?
That's a good question. So, as I was mentioning, vendors right now, whether they be the Salesforce automation vendors or the marketing automation vendors, they're trying to add modules right now that are AI enabled to help you do your job better. So if I was a business owner, the first thing I would do is look to my existing marketing tech stack or my marketing vendors to find out what they have in place. You'll be surprised to see that a lot of them have made just incredibly rapid progress over the past year. Even with Tempesta Media, there are things that we're doing now that would have been a dream to most of our customers even 3 years ago.
For sure.
And so it is the pace of it's fast. So I'd start there. And then if not, um, if you have an engineer on your staff, I'm sure they're quite familiar with GitHub.
Yep.
GitHub has some of the latest things that are coming out there. And then, frankly, the show that you're listening to right now is a great source of these solutions.
Yeah, I feel lucky that I've gotten to talk to a lot of founders of tools and been able to get some things like the Loop Genius, which does pay per click inside of social media, and so so AI generated ads, and so we have the chance to compare something like that that's AI generated versus the things that are creative generated by the team, and to see what the benefits are and the automations that happen. I'm a big fan of Make. I think that's an interesting connection point. It's not necessarily AI. But it is part of this thing where we're inside the agency.
Enablement.
We're able to take routine tasks and take it away from humans and make the software do it, which is the best use, I think.
Yeah, and I think as a CEO, you've got to step back and take a look. you've got this great resource, which is your staff, but it's limited, and they have to constantly be upskilled in terms of their training and development. So as that owner or as the CEO, you got to figure out what is the most efficient and effective way you can deploy that resource so that it's going to maximize your revenue and profits. And the very first thing I do, because I'm a founder and CEO as well,
Right.
I take a look and say, what is my staff doing that's manual and repetitive?
Right.
Start there. And it may sound like something really small, like this guy's clicking this button every single time they do this, right? But it could be also something pretty gradual, pretty massive on that. Start there because of two things. One, our job is not just to go and maximize our revenue and optimize our profit, but it's also to make sure that we grow our team and develop them as the leaders that they want to be. No one wants to do manual repetitive stuff over and over again. It's actually one of the reasons why people quit their jobs.
For sure.
They don't feel like they're challenged and they feel like the work that they're doing is redundant and boring.
Right.
And so if you can make that investment, it's where you're now aligning your staff with your organization's needs and it becomes a win-win. We are very aggressive at my company internally of stamping out anything that is the boring stuff that people don't want to do. And
Yeah.
frankly, the more you can have your staff move into higher level roles, the more value they add to your company.
No, I love that. It's the stuff they don't want to do or the stuff we're not good at, right? Those are the two things that I look for solutions for first.
Yeah, an example being sales, right?
Yep.
Sales development representatives are those people that are their job is to go and generate leads and appointments for the salespeople. Oh my gosh, talk about a position that can be burnout real quick in 6 to 12 months, right?
Yep. For sure.
You have to send 100 emails out, or you have to send 100 and make 120 calls, and half those calls they end up not even connecting any human. Well,
Right.
there's a perfect example where you can use AI to be able to intelligently detect, hey, there's actually a live person that's coming up on this call here. Connect it with that person instead of the sales development rep pressing the button over and over again to dial the number.
Right.
That I know it's a funny example, but there are people that do this every day in our industries that it causes burnout. And if you can make the job higher value where they're having more conversations, well, they're happier because they're making more money and you're happier because your business is growing.
Yeah, the other one that's been really effective for some clients of mine that own gyms where they have to make the outbound calls to collect money for people who aren't paying their bill, and the AI voice agent does that all in 1 minute, and the money just magically starts flowing in, and it's a process that the humans don't like to do, make those phone calls, and so the AI for a very reasonable amount of money. And it's very profitable in terms of the amount of money they're spending on that agent versus how much money is coming in for payables.
Right. Well, let's use this example. How many people in your audience right now are the CEOs within the building trades or construction industry, right?
Right.
I'm sure there's a good handful of you guys out there that are listening to this program trying to better your company and better yourselves. Wouldn't it be great if you can be able to intelligently dispatch all those calls that come in to the right tech within the field so
Right.
that you don't have to miss any opportunities so they're not calling another vendor to get it done?
Yeah.
That may be specific to the contractor world and the building trades, but it's also applicable to dentists and lawyers and doctors and many others that listen to your program. These are possible to solve today. And
Yeah.
that's where AI can really stand out.
The AI receptionist, the voice receptionist is an amazing tool at this point. It is almost undetectable as computer generated, some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have it incorporated in as part of our solution offering as an example. We talked about a lot of the great opportunities. Let's talk about some of the landmines here real
Sure.
quick,
Love
Emmanuel,
to.
with our
Yeah.
limited time. It's not all smelling like roses out there when it comes to AI. Let's just be very clear. There are some areas that I think companies need to avoid. And one of those areas is generative AI. And I know there's been a lot of press and a lot of media about how generative AI is great and kids are using it to complete their homework assignments for their teachers and many other things. But I can tell you with data, because we tested all this stuff on out over the last, now 6 years, it does not work. and I'm going to explain why.
Okay,
So the
let's hear
first
it.
area is what I call lying. We call it hallucinations is the nice word within the AI world, but the reality
Yeah,
is it's lying. AI is lying to you. So it's providing data sometimes that isn't true,
right,
or it's not referencing a real link or a real media source. In some instances, it makes up its own sources.
right.
We actually have fact checkers that go and check all this stuff, and some of the stuff they tell me is just amazing and surreal. So that's a problem number one. So if you're telling lies, if you're a business and you're telling lies, that's not a good thing. You can get into a lot of trouble doing that, especially if you're in one of the regulated industries like healthcare, for
Yeah,
example,
or
or
finance. Yeah,
legal or finance. It's
yeah,
not a good thing. Another problem, it doesn't help your audience. Many times, especially if you're in B2B and you have a moderately complex or complex solution that requires an education, what we have found is that the generative AI solutions can't go to the level of depth of what an industry expert can do or subject matter expert.
sure.
Uh, that's the bottom line. And so if you end up, if you're trying to go and look for what is the best, I don't know, let's just call it reactive chemical that's going to be able to help out in terms of your solvent for your specific machine on this system,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you get an article on here's 5 reasons why you should be using a chemical solvent. You're not going to be happy, and you're going to leave that site and you're going to come away with a bad taste because now you've that AI solution or that generative AI has harmed your brand. Maybe a
yeah,
little bit of a harm, but it is a harm. More important, you have now turned off a prospect to potentially buying from you because they're going to think that you really don't know what you're doing. You guys aren't
yeah,
leaders within your space. It's a huge issue. Third issue, which is the one that can cost you a lot of money, is that AI has to learn from somewhere, right? They have these things called large language models, which are basically big compendiums of data of which they train the AI on. And that AI uses that knowledge base to be able to impart what they're doing. It's nuts. Problem with that is that guess what? Someone owns a lot of that content. Someone owns a lot of that data. And what's starting to happen now is when content's being created using that data that's in the large language model, plagiarism starts to emerge.
yeah.
And it could be even worse from there. There's actually multiple lawsuits right now that are going on for various AI, generative AI companies where they're being sued for having outright stolen material from others, either purposely or inadvertently.
Yep.
The fact remains is that if you're a business owner, right, you got enough risk and other problems to deal with. You don't have the time nor the desire to go and add more risk. The whole job of a CEO is to de-risk your company, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important that you try to avoid that and really rely on subject matter experts. And there are solutions, and I'm not plugging Tempesta Media. Yes, we are one of those out there, but more importantly, you have internal people in your company that are the subject matter experts, where generative AI can assist, much like back in the days, geez, I'm dating myself here, but back in the days when you had calculators, right? That you were using, the Texas Instruments calculators, it helped you along to go and figure problems out. You could store some formulas in there, right?
Right.
If you're trying to solve a certain equation or problem. Generative AI should be used in that fashion. It should be used as an adjunct. It shouldn't replace your brain. It shouldn't replace your experts to go with it. If you steer in that direction, you're avoiding 99% of the issues out there. Those are things I would recommend.
Yeah, I like it, and I think part of the part there's two things. One is that you have a storehouse of your own company's information and access that.
Yeah,
That speeds
that's
it up and eliminates some of these things that you're talking about.
well, you just brought up, Emmanuel, an incredible point, which is who owns this data,
Right.
right? So here you are, you're a company, you worked hard to build up all these proprietary processes and institutional knowledge and everything. And the last thing you want to do is expose that to be sucked up into one of these AI systems so that it's now learned on your information that can be used to all the other competitors of yours.
Exactly.
So there's a big trend right now in the industry that for those people that are doing AI, they are they're creating their own private language model, which the AI is trained on.
Yep.
And they have that secure, tied up, and restrained so that it never leaves the premises, if you will, whether it be cloud-based or in person.
Yeah.
I think that's a tremendous opportunity, especially for marketers that are having to develop marketing collateral and trying to make sure that they stay on point and on message with the brand.
Yep.
That could be a huge, huge asset to a company as long as it's securely locked down and proprietary to your company.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That's a great point. Explain a little bit more about what Tempesta Media does.
Sure. So Tempesta Media, I started the company in 2011. What we are is the leading customer acquisition specialist for companies within the building trades at the small business level. And then we are the outsourced digital marketing solution for midsize and larger companies. So essentially what we do is we solve one of the key issues that a lot of companies face, which is they have one or two, at least in the smaller businesses, they have one or two people in their marketing organization, and they don't have the time or the financial resources or the expertise to go and invest heavily in a technology stack, invest in getting these specialists aboard, and being able to have the strategy in place that ties into what their corporate goals are. What we are is we become an extension of their organization with our Bullseye Effect managed service. So we bring three things to the table. We have our core form technology platform that we've developed that automates many of these things. So as we were talking about, automates many of the day-to-day marketing functions that are required to effectively run an organic marketing program. We have Analytic Lab that sits on top of that ties into all these different data sources within your company, so you can get omni-channel reporting so that you can optimize your program in real time. And then finally, on top of that, which is the closest to what I guess you'd call an agency, is our professional services team, where they are the subject matter experts. They know your industry. They know, obviously, the digital marketing industry. They're able to bring that together and pull the components within our platform that's going to be most effective for meeting your KPIs and goals. We deliver that all for a subscription on a monthly basis, just like any other software solution, but we call it a tech-enabled solution in that there's technology and humans involved.
Love it. That's
And
really.
then for our rank solution, we do that at a most basic level to help them drive leads in their local market.
It's good stuff. I like the systematic approach. You've put your accounting background into the marketing stack, which is beautiful.
We can thank my father from many years ago for that. So didn't appreciate it when I went into it, but I appreciate it now as a CEO.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
Sure. If you'd like to learn more about Tempesta Media, you can visit us at tempestamedia.com. If you'd like to connect with me directly, I am on LinkedIn. It's pretty easy, LinkedIn/Marchese. And even if you just have some general questions about this or need some guidance, I'm happy to help. If we can't help you, I can refer you to someone that does. I've been involved with the industry for, now almost 30 years.
Oh boy.
So if we can't do it, I guarantee you I could pretty much find someone who will for you.
That's the best news about being in the industry for that long, right?
I know. I remember the days before internet, which is pretty scary.
Oh yeah, the first networked computers, right, in your first office. Holy cow!
Yeah, I got that. I got into the internet by accident back in '93. No one wanted to do the project called the internet at that time because it was all pre-browser.
Yeah.
Right place, right time, I guess.
That's beautiful. Well, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for breaking those things down about how we should be approaching things and what we should be avoiding in generative AI right now. And
you got it. Thank you very much for your time, Emanuel. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Well, hang on for a second while I close it out, and we'll chat. Thanks, Michael. All right. Well, it's good. It's good to pay attention to the fact that generative AI is not it's not a complete or done situation, and paying attention to what you're referencing with the LLMs is still a critical part, not only for the quality of content and bringing value to the person consuming the information, but also for who owns whatever it's pointed at. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.